Hi, hello, and welcome to this new series in Tech Padasala on how do we get started in cloud. The last several months, we have seen a lot of inquiries coming on our way wherever we go, and in any casual discussion, we have seen people asking us about how do we get started in cloud. And this question comes from different backgrounds. Students who are in the pre-final and final years, and working professionals, especially from a testing background and who had been functioning as business analysts, even some of the senior folks, all of them have very clearly understood that cloud is the way to go. Whether it is going to be a AWS, Azure, GCP, respective of which public cloud you select, but cloud is here to stay. And for us to be relevant, getting in the cloud is a necessity right now. And with this pandemic, this requirement or this demand had been greatly amplified. So when we all agree, irrespective of the background and the role which we have been doing, that we need to be in cloud, we need to have the knowledge in cloud. What differs is how do we get started in it? There are a lot of apprehensions and miscalculation, or I will say different thoughts or assumptions on how do we get started on cloud. Few from those who are in testing background who have done an exceptional job in the last 10 or 15 years, their question is always like, now after learning cloud, can I start as a developer? You need not, because now you have got an expertise by doing a type of role for 15 years or 10 years, whichever is applicable to you. Now you need not restart your career from ground zero as a developer. You can actually continue testing, leveraging all your experience in a much better fashion in cloud. In fact, it offers you a wider scope than your traditional on-prem testing. Some of the senior folks are skeptical, saying that hey, cloud looks to be heavy on infra and more on the application development space or maintenance space. So, am I doing the right thing? Absolutely, yes. Cloud covers a part of infra, the foundational part, and that is very much relevant even if you want to get into advanced topics like AI and ML. So even if you want to build some model and do some fabulous predictive algorithms, loading the data, cleaning that, all those requires those foundational aspects which we normally qualify as infra. So coming back to this series, what I wanted to define is the scope of the series. We have definitely seen a lot of videos on vendor platforms like Udemy, Linux Academy, where they are coaches who teaches you on the foundational aspects of AWS. And even in YouTube, there are a lot of freelancers who are doing videos on each segment of it. We deeply appreciate them, but we don't intend to replicate or follow the same path, because will the AWS certification get translated into an offer letter for you? The answer is yes and no. Depends on where you are. So if you are a pre-final year or a final year and you get a cloud certification, which is very much doable and people are doing it, then that certification has a potential to convert a call letter into an offer letter. It differentiates you from rest of the folks. But if you are an experienced professional, the certification might help in getting a call, but will it get translated into an offer? I have my own doubts. Because, let me give you an example. So what you learn in a certification course is, okay, this is the type of storage uh, concepts, and these are the various trade-offs which you do in terms of the cost versus durability versus availability. So if I have to give you a particular example, if you talk about EC2 instances, they will say that if you sign a 3 years contract with AWS, you get a lot of discount, which is true. But when you are working in a project, will you be taking that type of decision? Most often, no. Those decisions will be taken at a very, very higher level. And what I've seen, even folks who have been working on AWS projects for the last several years, they are very much confined to a scope. I personally know a few architects who cannot even go ahead and create an S3 on their own. They don't have that luxury in their client account to do it, rightfully so. So what are the types of decisions which you will be taking? Say you have an application wherein your server is connecting to S3 and loading all the objects. Over a period of time, its performance is dropping. Now you have to troubleshoot it. Or you have migrated from a traditional server-based computation to a lambda-based serverless model, and contrary to your expectation, you are seeing that the performance is going down and the cost is going up. Then you need to figure it out. And you have used the best in class DynamoDB accelerator, and you have an SQS which is feeding in, but you see a lot of the incoming requests are not getting processed. It is reaching a dead end, impacting your business, and you need to figure out and troubleshoot and fix it. You may not be doing coding in all the scenarios which I just narrated, but you will be definitely required to figure out what is going wrong in the architectural part. And that is what I call it as plumbing the pieces together to find out where the leakage is. Leakage may be in terms of performance, it might be in terms of your security, it might be in terms of your data, right, or scalability, and so on and so forth. And that part is not something which is completely taught in any certification course. Rightfully so, because all the certification intents is to give you a foundational knowledge. So the way Tech Padasala series is going to differ from those conventional videos is we want to get on to the next level where we want to talk about architecture, the real life issues, the performance issues, the options which you have to improve the architectural stability and scalability at a lower cost. And what are those lessons and best practices which we are seeing across the globe? So we want to glean all those information and present it to you through this series. And in case if you are interested in podcast and you are a person who listens to podcasts, I will also leave a link to our podcast wherein every week we do a 15 to 20 minutes. We intend to keep it less so that it captures your attention span and doesn't drag more. In case where the content is more, we try to segment it as part 1 and part 2. But quite religiously we try to put it in a small block wherein you'll be able to listen to it and assimilate it within the week. So I'll drop that link in the description section of this video. So we are going to get into this series and talk about performance improvements using S3. How do we leverage the cache option um, to improve your architectural performance, and is serverless really the solution for all our problems, and so on and so forth. Um, and feel free to always write to me at queryShammy@gmail.com. I will leave that email in the description section of this video, and connect with your stories, whether it is something which you have learned or something which you have the best practices which you want to share with the rest of the audience. We'll be glad to acknowledge and to share those experiences as well. Thank you and welcome to this series on getting on to cloud computing. Thank you.